The Russian Revolution, Part 2, The Stalin Years. Now, eventually, in 1924, Lenin dies. There had been an attempted assassination attempt on him, and he never fully recovered. When Lenin dies, two men, Leon Trotsky, who had been with Lenin from the get-go with the Russian Revolution, and Joseph Stalin, both want to take over. Trotsky was supposed to. That is who Lenin wanted to take over. But Joseph Stalin knew this and immediately pushed Leon Trotsky out of the Communist Party and even out of Russia. He put a hit on him, basically. He threatened him with death, and Trotsky had to run to Mexico to save his life and that of his wife. Stalin took control and immediately starts his rule with terror and brutality. Stalin turned the Soviet Union into a totalitarian state, which is a one-party form of government, a complete and total dictatorship, and he regulated every aspect of the life of his citizens. He started a program called Russification, and this is when he made everyone Russian. Russia is a huge country, and it is made up of numerous ethnic backgrounds and religious backgrounds and a lot of different types of people. Well, he wanted them to all look the same, act the same, all have this identical same heritage, history, education, and so he started Russification, which was to erase anyone else's history, and you only know what he tells you will know, and you will only eat the Russian foods, dress like a Russian, speak Russian, and pray like a Russian. Everything else was wiped out, and if you didn't cooperate, he stuck you in Siberia at a work camp until you died. He also redrew many of the boundaries of many of the republics around Russia to make sure that non-Russians could never outvote him, could never take over, that Russians held the population majority. Stalin established a command economy in which the government officials take all the basic economic decisions. The government controls everything from factories, small and big businesses, to farms. Everything was controlled by Stalin. He started a 5-year plan to improve industrialization. Now, with his 5-year plan started in 1928, it was supposed to increase industry and increase farm output, more food for people. Unfortunately, did not work. The Soviet Union produced a lot of oil, coal, and steel, but it did not make enough consumer goods, clothing, medical supplies, food, pots and pans, the kind of things you'd buy at Walmart. To improve on this, he started a program called collectivization. Stalin forced peasants, especially in the Ukraine, which is west of Russia. We know it as Poland and Czechoslovakia and those areas. He forced peasants to give up their small farms and live on state-owned farms or collectives. He took the land away. The land had been owned by generations and generations of their families, and he said, not anymore, they're mine. And he forced the peasants to work on these farms, and they hated it. They hated to be taken away from their land. This caused a forced famine. When the Ukrainians refused to cooperate with Stalin, he went in and took all the food. Very simple. The food he couldn't take, he killed. He killed all the livestock, the chicken, the cows, the sheep, the goats, and any food that they were able to grow, he took away and took back to Moscow and Russia. This led to the death of over 6 million people in the Ukraine. Mass starvation resulted, and as I said, millions of people died in the Ukraine. It was just an awful, awful thing, which he denied was ever happening. Today, Russia is a republic similar to the United States. Now, that being said, it's run by a guy named Vladimir Putin, who you can see right there in the picture. He is not a fan of the United States. Many people consider him to be corrupt. And Russia does not have 100% of their freedoms. They do not have freedom of the press, freedom of religion. You can go to church, but he watches the churches, and it's a very controlled country today. All based on the background of the Russian Revolution and the teachings of Lenin and Stalin. Putin just basically keeps up with that, having a secret police with silent threats, people disappearing, and things like that.